What's up, men? Welcome to the Male Cartel podcast. Let's get started.
Do you think men are important? Like for what?
Men are not meant to be dominant. Men are meant to be submissive.
Life's too short to exercise. I'm just gonna be honest.
It's okay to be fat.
Dispelling toxic masculinity and really redefining what it means to be a man. Men can cry. So it's okay to be weak. It's okay to be weak.
I'm telling you right now, not everybody wants to see you win.
You seem to be more woman than you are man. You don't have any manly qualities.
You give them this message that it's okay to be a man.
It's not okay, it's necessary. How are we going to do without men? You look around the city here, you see all these buildings go up, these men, they're doing impossible things.
It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Be a dangerous man. Being dangerous is not being a threat. They're two different things. You can't be a good man if you're not a dangerous man. You say one disrespectful thing to my wife, I am not only willing, but I'm able to inflict great bodily damage.
I'm going to do everything in my power to become a victor and not a victim. I can't explain it, but you better feel me. Winners win and losers lose. I can't explain it any better than that. I don't know how it happens, but winners win. And if you create a culture of losing, if you keep being a victim, if you keep letting losing happen to you, if you keep letting people do you and treat you any kind of way, it's going to become a culture. What's the matter with you? There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
Here's your host, Nick and Shane.
We good? We back, Nicholas.
Welcome back to the Male Cartel. Whoa. Welcome back to the Male Cartel.
Is it my turn to talk after you?
I don't know.
We've been trying to get this thing started for the last minute.
I just saw Carell's have the camera on you and then switched it back to me, so I just figured we would just do what we had to do.
And that's all we do. Just do what we have to
do what we have to do.
Dude, that was some funny junk when the door analogy.
Oh yeah, earlier.
Key. Yeah, that
how God opens doors for us.
Yeah, and how he's the key. And
sometimes you got to use a key.
Yeah, and then sometimes we're like the key that nobody ever uses. It's just on your keys, you're like, what does this belong to? Sometimes the most unlikely people God will use.
When God wants to open a door, He's going to use whatever He needs to use.
That's right. He'll pick the doggone lock, bro.
He will use. I've known people who were basically. They got themselves fired, and then all of a sudden they had a new endeavor, and then they're like, God opened this door for me.
Yeah.
It's like, well, He must have used your incompetence.
Do you ever, as a leader, do you ever sit across from somebody, whether it's, you probably can't say like on staff or anything, but like.
I've only got one staff.
But
full-time staff member.
But I'm saying like over all the years, and even like doing your chaplaincy work, you sit across from people who do talk about how God opens a door, and the whole time you just want to say, nah, I don't think so. I do not think it's like that at all.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and, God gets the credit for so many things.
That's right.
I don't know if I've ever told you this or not, but I had a young lady who told me, she was meeting with me, because there's a scripture in the verse a scripture in the Bible that talks about, if a woman is or a wife is a Christian or even the husband, but married to a non-believer, that they should remain in the marriage because they bring holiness. Like the wife will bring holiness into that marriage. So this female happened to be, choosing to live a homosexual lesbian lifestyle. And she told me, she did not think she was born that way, that she was making a conscious choice. But she was asking me whether or not she should, she felt she was a follower of, she was a Christian, but her partner married, according to the state,
her teammate,
they were married, her teammate. And so did she need to stay married to her so that she could be saved? And I said, well, let's back this up. First of all, I'm just going to tell you as it is, as I believe, and what Scripture says. The state might recognize that as a marriage, but that's not a marriage according to God. So there is no marrying or divorcing or whatever, the lifestyle. So anyway, not to get into the whole conversation, but the way that she got into basically that relationship, she started dating guys, and then this other girl came back around, and she basically gave God, if you want me to be with her, then let this stuff work out. And some of these things fell into place, and so she felt like that was God's sign to her. She needed to be with that other woman, and I was like, that's not how it works. And so God gets a credit for a lot of stuff.
Dude, I'm right there with you, man. I had similar many a times just like that, especially working with young people, and it's like he does all these things, and then it's God's will.
Oh yeah,
and you're like, I don't know about all that, bro. Like, nah, I don't think it's like that. I don't think God's gonna encourage you to sin, and or you have a kid. This hasn't been recently, but my first thought goes to a situation about a year and a half ago. Had a kid who was getting fired from his job and wanted to talk to me about it, and he said, and this is, I mean, I guess he's a kid. He's 18. So he said, got fired from his job, but he believed it was like of the Lord.
Oh yeah,
and that God was opening up different possibilities, and he wanted to be like a YouTube guy or YouTuber, and we're talking through it. And then I asked the question, like, so I circled back around because his point was like got fired, etc. He wanted to talk about the possibilities of like going into ministry, or what did I think, YouTube and all this other stuff. And I circled back around. I was like, so why'd you get fired? He's like, and then we come to find out, and us conversating about him getting fired. I got something in my eyeball. It's called an eye. He said he said he was late for work all the time. I was like, bro, I just think you're sorry. In my head, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, bro, you just sorry, bro. Lazy, just terrible, pathetic, whatever you want to call it. Just, the job gave you the job was like displaying the gospel by giving you time after time after time, showing you grace. And at about the 10th time, they'd cut you. So I was like, man, they're trying to use this as like a discipline thing. I don't think God cut you loose from the bondage of your job.
No,
I think
not when he says, whatever your hand finds to do it with all your might.
That's right.
And whatever you do, whether you eat or drink, do all to the glory of God.
It don't make a difference.
Showing up late ain't for the glory of God.
Yeah, there's like, God's telling me. Oh, I was doing premarital counseling one time, and got done. Everything was fine. Like everything was great. There's no red flags. They're really compatible with each other. And she said, she just out of the blue just said, well, there's one thing I have a problem with. I was like, cool.
With the counseling?
Yeah, with like she needed to work through. They needed to work through. And it was something I said. And then immediately I'm like backtracking, thinking in my head, what did I say? What was it? I didn't feel like I said anything wrong. This is the last session too, by the way. She said it was from session 1, and every session I talked about what the husband does and his role in the marriage, and what does the wife do. And she said that she is an independent woman. Took like the 5th session to let me know she's an independent woman, and then turn around. This is like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and then turn around and said that she's independent and she believes she is equal to her husband.
Okay.
And I was like, I just looked at him like, brah, are you gonna like chime in real quick for me? Because it got pretty intense. Because we were done, dude. Like I just prayed to dismiss the session. We're done. Like there's no red flags, and all of a sudden this pops up, and I was not expecting it. Kind of caught me off guard, So it had me ice skating. So I was speaking real slow. Okay, so tell me how you feel this way.
How does that make you feel?
And so she said, and then she says, I said, okay, well, I'm having a hard time understanding you. And she goes, oh, really? And I said, yeah. I said, because you told me that you believe without a shadow of a doubt that God sent him to your life. Oh, I do. I love him. And then she just grabbed his arm, And I said, so you believe that God in his sovereignty sent him and that he is actually filling the void that's left by the previous men in the life of your children. So he is really like he's like something sent from the Lord, like an angel, right? And she was like, oh, with all my heart, started getting like teary eyed. I was like, okay. And so I said, so you believe that God would send him, and you trust God, and God's good for all this, but yet you don't want to believe what God's word says. I'm completely confused. And I smiled, and she goes, and this is probably one of the best responses I've ever gotten. Like, seriously. She goes, well, I guess you're right. I'm so sorry, Pastor Shane. And that was it, dude.
Wow.
It was it. It was it. But, dude, it was like, because she's always him. But then she waited to the 5th session. Like, dude, when I've ever had like a buck into issue of like anything Ephesians 5 or anything that happens, the roles of marriage and, all the things and responsibilities, that's always first session, man. Because I ask them plain, are they having sex? Did the parents support them? Their family support them if they're older, and then do they live together?
Was this premarital?
This is premarital.
For them?
Yeah, this is the 5th session, bro. 5th. And they're my age.
But she had already had...
She had a marriage before that failed.
Okay.
And then she was abused by the husband, beat her up, abused. And then he had a abuse as well situation with a woman. And so he actually is a great, like, responsibility, being a man, all that. There's a lot of insecurities that he has, obviously. But he was just ran through the coals over his first bride. And then she, obviously, I knew the situation. I knew all this because their kids were in my student ministry during that time period. And so I kind of knew everything about the situation.
That probably what sparked some of the being independent. You see that from a lot of women who have come out of not divorce, but abuse situations. Because I'm not going to get run over again.
That's right.
I'm going to be strong and stand
But
firm.
she waited 5. Immediately, I was thinking, man, she must be passive. She
didn't want to.
She sat on this for 5 sessions, and it was closing session, and we're good to get married. And then it was like, I'm going to tell you what I disagreed from day one.
She didn't want to close that door.
Close that door. That's right.
There we go.
And then it'd been
the
done.
Lord
Close the door,
it.
but the Lord opened the door. With the key.
Yeah. Sometimes he uses people's hard head.
He does.
Uses it like a battering ram.
Boom.
He's like the SWAT team. And
he busts that door, kicks it down. What you doing? You came back from the tour. You just been on tour.
We had our Hope marriage retreat, which is every November, and so that was good.
What does Brian do? Does he speak there too?
Yep. Brian, so I told Brian that we have mentioned, and I never heard from him, so he didn't listen to the last episode.
Brian.
But he has been super busy.
I get it.
And I'll tell you this with Brian, like he has told us, because there are multiple pastors, because we got multiple locations, and he's kind of the first among equals. So there's not really a hierarchy, but he started Hope Church. It was his vision for what we have. And he has told us, like, if you guys ever need anything, I'll be there. And he has been running crazy. And today he is there with Nathan in the hospital.
Let's go.
Checking on him. That's a 6 to 8 hour drive with stops and stuff like that. And I know what Brian's been, kind of dealing with. And he's had a daughter just get married, marriage retreat, hurricane relief. I mean, it's just been moving himself. And, Nathan needed him, and he's there. And that's just who he is. And so grateful for him. Would love to get him on, because he and his wife did a session on biblical headship and submission.
Oh, yeah.
And he's done a whole sermon on that. And it was really well done. Heard some great feedback of like men repenting and apologizing to their wives for not leading their homes. Women, really confessing and repenting of not biblically submitting to their husband. And very powerful session. And it went really well. And so we did, some of the pastors did a panel where it was just answering questions. Nikki and I did a standalone session about how your spiritual well-being affects your marital well-being. And because we've been married for 24 years, I guess they felt like we could share with that. Nikki did a phenomenal job. Like, this is only the second time she's really spoken in front of a group of people like that. And, Brian was telling me last night on the phone, he said she never, missed a word or like misused a word. She didn't stutter. Didn't even sound like she said, like she just flowed smoothly. I know I read her notes and it was almost like she didn't even look at her notes. She just I was like, she does a better job memorizing them than me. And so even there was a main session couple that came from outside of Hope Church, and they referenced back something she said a couple times, referenced back something I said one time, but then gave Nikki credit for it. So that's when she outshined me.
That's it, dude.
But yeah, so it's that marriage retreat's always well done. It's not necessarily the same every year. We have a different theme, or we'll mix stuff up if we feel like it didn't work. But that's where we've been. That's where we were last week, doing that. Nikki and I went down a day early to decorate. She has the kind of events business that she does with the balloon arches and stuff like that. So she helped me decorate, as I told everyone, and I actually helped her. But
let's go. Look at you.
Yeah, I know how to do balloon arches.
Did you blow the balloons up
with a little pump? Yeah, electric pump. You have to blow all those balloons up yourself.
Be done.
I ain't got that much hot air.
Yeah, bro. You be passing out, bro.
What about you? What's going on?
We started construction on our rebuild on our house. Yesterday. So
just yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah, dude. And then I went by this morning. Went to football practice for Daisy's flag football. So did that, dropped her off, and then went by the house. And I got a funeral tomorrow, so I had to go look for some pants and stuff in the house. And man, there was 3 dudes there getting it done, bro. They were tearing up the floor. They had the sideways jackhammer. I'm like, this is a beast. Introduced myself to them, all 3 of them. Super nice guys. Super cool. Yeah. So we'll see.
So you're still in the hotel?
Man, we living it up in the hotel.
Have they upgraded you yet? To a suite or something?
Yeah, ours it is a suite, but
it is a suite.
But there's no.
Is it a suite?
Yeah, and this is the bit. We are on the 3rd floor. I'm gonna be on the bottom floor. I'm gonna be on the 1st floor. But yeah, it's. I mean, it ain't much room. I mean, it's about as big as this room and just a little bit extra, and that's it. I mean, that's really what it is. So for 5 of us.
Y'all grow closer.
Man, it has been not terrible, but it's been definitely an adjustment. The kids were over with in about 2 weeks. They were over it. They were done. They really didn't want to. They're so tired of the hotel, man. Yeah. And so for me, I don't know. I'm just trying to find so what has been cool is we have ministered to people in the hotel.
Okay.
The workers and stuff. And so those who are employees. And so they all know my family. I was talking to a woman last night who with my wife, and she shared her testimony. She was in prison for 5 years and lost her kids and all this other stuff, and found Jesus in prison and lived in New York, and then got involved with the church, and they abused her verbally and kind of run her off. And she ended up coming back here, and so she has church hurt, and so
that was in New York.
It was in New York
because I know a few people that might have done that to her.
Well, for her, she's probably my age, and it happened when her son was 1.
Oh wow!
So 17. So she lived a wild lifestyle, just living it up in her 20s. Got arrested when she was 25. And so when she came out, she was 30. But you could tell back in her younger days, she was probably a looker, And the whole time I was thinking, I'm about to hook Carell up, producer Carell, little ladybug.
Is he single?
And is she
she's
single? Yeah, she's single.
Okay.
Now. So little ladybug, and so she just super awesome. I mean, great personality and everything. And then she was just sharing her testimony, and I could picture everything. I could put everything together as she's talking, make it make sense very easily. Kind of like when you're doing counseling, where you're just trying to take notes, or you're trying to pick the pieces of if it's a husband and a wife, and trying to make sense of what's actually taking place and what's the root. Picture it and then find the roots. And in this situation, it was just talking. It was oh gosh, yeah, she's great. She's all. And then we started looking. Fit. I would say she's regular.
Okay.
Sure.
But I know
you
he
could
said
tell,
fit.
You could tell though, like her face is like very, very young face.
Okay.
Like if you just saw her face, you probably would think she's like 30 versus like late
is she
40s.
a
She's brown
woman
skin.
of color? Okay,
Yeah,
she's brown skin.
Yeah, yeah.
So black don't crack, brown don't frown.
I thought she was at first. I mean, I thought she was probably maybe 40, and then when you definitely there's not any wrinkles on her face. I mean, her and my wife just kicked it off, and then I just started sharing, with her about how God doesn't waste anything in your life, and talk about the Word, and it was just a great conversation. So that's how it is now. Like so.
Producer Carell, would you be okay with dating a woman that previously
was in prison
before Christ went to prison?
Yeah. Would you give us a head nod? Yes or no? He's got to think about it, folks.
Got to think about it. Poor Apostle Paul, I guess.
He would be friends with Paul. He'd be like,
he
Paul,
would be friends with Paul.
I can't hang out with you, bro.
No, Peter,
You
any
rub
of
off
those
on me.
guys that have been in prison.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wasn't it John and Peter?
Oh, you're
that
not
was in
dating
jail?
them, so they weren't dateable.
Oh yeah.
I mean, was Paul married? No.
Mm-mm.
So I guess that's why. I
Yeah.
guess there was a bunch of Carels that were like, nope, I ain't interested. Female Carels.
Yeah, but you've been to prison, bro.
Carols. The female Carell is Carol.
Carols. The
Bunch of Carols were like, no, I can't date you. You've been in prison.
But he's been cool in that aspect. But hopefully they'll get done in the next 2 weeks. So, but
Well, good.
It's crazy. We'll
Well,
see.
maybe you need to invite Carell over for like coffee in the lobby, and maybe you can
Dude,
introduce the two.
Yeah,
of them.
I think she'll be there on Thanksgiving too. So we're
But
gonna. we're gonna feed
producer
everybody.
Carell's been going to the gym, and he's got a personal trainer, and
Let's go.
so maybe even if she's not as fit as he wants her to be,
You can.
they could
spot
work
her.
out together. Oh yeah, spot her.
You can be the spotter. Hey, so what's
He
your
could
favorite?
even show her the moves.
Are you sore these days, producer Carell, from working out?
Oh,
How
then
about
he
you-
needs a new trainer.
Yeah, man, you need like a Nick Carnes.
No pain, no gain. Whoa. We got a muscle scientist over here. Is that what does it? Is that what the trainer says? Well,
Yeah, lactic acid.
okay.
Yeah. So you bench press? You do the bench press?
Okay.
That's cool.
Now he can show Miss Hotel Clerk.
Yeah, I don't remember her name. I need to know it.
She worked the front desk?
The front, yeah. She's like
Oh, wow.
assistant manager. Yeah.
Oh, you don't do that if you're like not trustworthy.
Yeah. So you automatically know that she's trustworthy.
Oh yeah. 100%.
See? That's automatic money, right?
I
Money
agree
right there.
100%.
Yep. So and she'll probably give you a discount too.
Oh man.
Staying at the stove.
Yeah, like when his
Staying at the
family comes
hotel.
to stay, if he needed to put him up somewhere.
Yeah, bro. Yep.
I know it's probably been rough on the kids to be at the hotel and it be not even warm enough to
Pool.
use the pool.
Listen, they shut down that pool during hurricane, and my kids for 2 days. Not even gonna lie, we came back from working all day long. They shut it down, didn't put the cover on it. You know, we did.
Move the cover.
We did. They didn't have the cover on it yet. We let them swim in the
Nice.
pool, my boys,
It was warm enough then.
and we just let them just swim.
Yeah.
And then it had a big sign that says closed.
Nope.
And we were like,
Obviously it's open.
rebels. I said, I pretend I do not see the sign. my kids were like, isn't that lying?
Nope.
I was like, I don't know, man. Right now, because there's no power at the hotel. There's no power at the hotel, no power anywhere. We just come by to see the hotel people, and we're like, they're dirty. Go ahead and jump in the pool.
Here's some soap.
There's no running water, and there's nothing. I was like, man, that's got bleach in that, chlorine. That'd kill everything, bro. Let's go. Dude, we looked so redneck. Oh, gosh. I was embarrassed. I'd be like, hey, guys, you guys got 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Just got to make it happen.
Dude, it really was funny. Yeah. Looking forward to Turkey Day, Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
And this is the anniversary of the independence got removed, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, I don't know the exact date, but it was on Thanksgiving.
That's what
I
I'm
know
saying.
that shifts on the
Thanksgiving.
date was, but it was Thanksgiving. 4th Thursday, 2007. my interdependence or whatever.
The independence.
Independence.
His independence left. Yeah, man.
Got sick and moved off.
How many years is that? 18?
2007.
What is that?
17.
17 years.
Wow.
That's a whole Tristan.
That's crazy. Yeah.
A whole
Tristan's 18, so it was right before he was.
Yeah, he was like
born.
9 months old, bro.
Oh yeah, I guess he was born.
Yeah, he was
17 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Haley wasn't though.
But see that. So we were talking about earlier. Kind of what we would if like we had major injuries or something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of gritting through and whether or not it would stop us and stuff like that. Well, that was one of those examples. I guess you can look back on and go, I was like sick as a dog. I mean, I was like in so much pain that day, and we went to help. It was called A Church Without Walls, and they did a lot of ministry with homeless and all. So they did a Thanksgiving meal using a facility where I worked, and so I was kind of like the supervisor, so they didn't have to pay anything. And so I went in and served. I was in so much pain, didn't feel good. In between, like when they needed me, I'd go just sit on the kind of out on the sidewalk and just kind of be hunched over in pain. And then when I was needed, I'd get back up and go in there and just do what I needed to do. Just that's all you can do. You can go lay in bed and whine, or you can just get to work. And so we did all that, cleaned up, locked up, went to my family's house that my cousin was hosting Thanksgiving lunch. We get there probably about 3:00 and everybody's eating. And so I sit down at the table, have a plate. Nothing's on it yet. I hadn't gotten any food. And I just laid my head down in my plate. And before that, my dad was like, hey, you want to go to the emergency room? I was like, nope, I'm good. I just need to grit through it. I just need to, just bear with it. And then I instead of getting up to go get food, I just laid my head in my little paper plate. And my dad said, you're going to the hospital. Yeah, I'm taking you. Mm-hmm. And so he took me. And as I shared before, the doctor almost didn't check me out. And my dad was like, the pain moved. He was saying, well, it looks like you have an ulcer based on going to prompt care the night before. So I'm just going to send you home. Just keep taking the medicine they gave you. And my dad said, would the pain move if it was an ulcer? And the doctor goes, lay down. Like I was inconveniencing him. And he said my independence was very sick, and they had to remove it right away. So, but really, what got me through was
cranberry sauce.
No, the Paget mashed potatoes, green beans, and grilled chicken. I think you brought. I think that's what you brought.
I did
to the house.
Yep.
So that's what nursed me back to health.
Let's go,
Chef Shane.
I remember. So hold up before I forget. I gotta ask a question. Do you find people when they're not tough, or like they're supposed to go into work and they just like call in, or like maybe not somebody like works with you, but like somebody like outside that you know of, like when they go, oh, I called in today because I had like belly bubbles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you like, does it make you upset? Do you in your head go, do you judge them? Is it like, or is it like, are you not judging, but you're drawing a evaluation from their situation? You know what I mean? What is, because I know what I do. I can tell you mine, but I want to know you.
There's a video online, and if I can remember, I'll make a note at this point to add like a link to it for the video and for the show notes with Matt Walsh talking about calling out and how basically it is it's embarrassing and it's shameful for a man to call out. Now he's saying like you there are times you have to or whatever, but it's still embarrassing to have a grown man to have to call and go, I'm my stomach's not feeling good. Personally, yes. Personally, and I'm not justifying it for those who are listening to say, because you're probably judging me now going, you're a jerk. But yes, because I'm usually going to work through it.
Yeah.
And so, because our offices are separate. I can walk into my office and not be around anyone, even if I'm sick.
Yeah.
So I don't think I've taken a sick day in years.
Yeah.
Unless maybe a couple of years ago when I knew I had the flu or whatever. But other than that, I work. I mean, it's just, I got stuff to get done.
Yeah.
I don't have time to take off. And if I'm not in the office, I'm still going to be working.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be laying around watching TV, not doing anything. I'm probably going to be on my laptop. So yes, to my shame, because I know people will judge me, usually I look through the scope of who I am and how I approach things, and that's probably not good.
Dude, I'm the same way, man. I honestly, you listening to this podcast, know this, I will judge the fool out of you. I will look at you and go, will not say it publicly, but in my head, I'm like, them jokers is pathetic. And that's how I usually do. And I have guys that I work with, my young guys, and it's cool when you work together and they start picking up some of your things that you do. Like, and I have to send some of the guys home when they do feel bad. When I look at them and they look sick.
Yeah.
I go, y'all need to go, bro. Because I don't want you around. I don't think any less of you. I just don't want you around me.
I don't think any less of you unless you called out first. But because you showed up.
You showed up, and then I want to send you home. You know what I mean?
Now I don't feel less of you because you at least showed up.
So true. Dude, that's so true.
But had you called me beforehand, I'm judging you all day long.
All day, man. I'll be like, well, yeah, I'm not feeling very well. I'm like, did you get your temp? My go-tos are always like, so what's your temp? Well, I don't have a temp right now. I'm like, oh, no. Bro, you're fine. Like,
if you're not contagious.
I like to hear you say you have a migraine and you have no temp. You know, I'm not going to say anything to a migraine. Every once because the medicine that I'm on, the medicine, I'll get a migraine. I get it. I don't run a temp either. And my head, I can't even think, man. Everything like feels like it's shutting down in my brain. It only lasts for like 30 minutes to like an hour and a half. But in that process, it's like, but you know what I would do? Like if I had that and I had to go to work the same day, I would go to work or come in late or whatever, and I'd go back to work.
Yep.
Get back right, and then I got stuff I got to do.
I get migraines.
Huh? Migraines too?
But I've had to work through them, and I'll leave early sometimes, but I'll get in and do what I can.
Yep.
But it's with migraines, if people don't know, the bright lights.
Man, dude. Yes,
that could be so hard.
So yeah. So I'll look and go, people talk about, so we had, in football, I think I told you this last time. We had a girl that was playing, caught the touchdown pass, and literally dislocated her pinky, hanging off to the side, as crooked as anything. I mean, it was like to the side. And I was like, oh my word. Like something off of TV. And immediately the trainer, I was right there with her, put my hand on her shoulder, popped it back in place, got it all back, all that stuff, got it all buttoned up. We taped it up and then put it in the glove, and she went back out. She still pulled flags and caught another touchdown. Her finger was jacked up for about 2 weeks. Literally, I checked it 2 days later. It didn't feel like it was broken in that, you know, the way that she could bend it, but it looked horrendous. You knew she was in pain, but that was on a Tuesday. That Friday before, we had a kid that hurt his finger, and he's out for the game. And he won't even catch any passes, bro. But hurt his finger, and he's out for the game.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing defense.
I know people like that, bro.
So you're like, man, this either the girl is like a beast, which she is, but the guy's just a wimp. And that's when we think about things. And I actually put a post the other day. I think I texted you about it. I got a little heat, not much heat at all. People just, commented on just random things. Some people just say funny stuff like, oh, such a blessing and stuff. And there's like hidden stuff. And you're like, oh gosh.
It wasn't even
bad.
It wasn't pointed at anyone.
It wasn't nothing. Just saying, and the reason I put a post, those who don't follow me on the Facebooks, on the line, I just said there's like 5 things you could do to better your health. And I just made a response.
Because a lot of people have been sick in 2024.
Yeah. I mean, like I know people are constantly sick. And so I was like, those who are constantly sick, I'm like, here are some basic things. Just do these basic things. And it was basic stuff like eat decent, get enough rest at night, get some vitamin D, get in the sunshine, have a proper diet, and take some vitamins. The only reason you take vitamins or should is because of the lack of nutrients that's in your food. But you do these things consistently, and you're gonna be fine, man. You're not gonna you're still gonna probably get sick a few times a year, but it's not gonna be like every other week. And so, but I know people who will tell me, bro, like seriously, I came in today and had an energy drink. Okay. they get onto me for energy drinks all the time and how it should be healthy. They drink nothing but alkaline water and talk about this tea and that tea. And I should have this food and that food. Yet they won't even work out, but they're healthy and they have good gut health, supposedly. But they get sick literally about every 10 days. And you're like, they're out for like 2 or 3 days because they're sick. And you're going, something ain't right about that. And now I just give them a hard time. The few individuals that I'm talking about, I give them a hard time. So like they would hear this podcast and they would laugh. So it's not a big deal. But I tell them all the time, like, well, you know what? You know what you need to do? Feel better? Drink you a Ghost energy drink. That's what you need to do.
I think the only thing better is you should drop their names.
So I don't know if I could do that, but
I'm playing.
But yeah, dude, it's crazy, man. Yeah, health, all that stuff. They what are you looking forward to on Thursday? Because it's Turkey Day. What's your favorite food to eat?
I love turkey, and I love my mom's sweet potato casserole. She cannot come. That is her entry ticket to the Thanksgiving.
She put pecans on top of it?
She does powdered brown sugar, pecans, and then the crust. No marshmallows. But like someone made one Sunday night because we had our family Thanksgiving gathering for the church, and it was like, okay, well, I mean, I respect the attempt.
Yeah.
But I've yet to have any as good as my mom's.
Yeah, anybody else, you need to call them Stofers. Hey, Stofer.
Hey, Stofer.
Stofers.
There's a place in called Smoke Shack up in Concord and Salisbury, North Carolina.
Salisbury steak.
Hit one of them sometimes with my in-person meetings with our pastors on the way home for dinner, and they have it. Still not as good as mom's.
Man, Mama Carnes, you need to hook the big guy up with it.
Oh, I'll get her to make you one.
Yeah, you need to. Mama Carnes, please hook your.
She uses fresh. One time she didn't use she used canned sweet potatoes instead of fresh because of time or something like that. Some excuse like that, and I could tell right away. And I don't think she was there that time. She still made it and sent it, even though she was going to be out of town. And then my dad took the recipe a couple of years ago to help her out because, once again, I guess she had a lot going on. And he used yams instead of sweet potatoes. And I knew right away. I was like, something's not right with this. I'm like the detector, and I'll call it out. And so my mom's like, she started laughing right away before I could even say anything. She's like, it's his fault. He used yams. And so it's funny. I can take one bite. I'm an expert.
I bet you just get just a little bit of dab on your plate, and you just swirl it in the air,
like his
wine.
You're
like, let me see. I gotta smell it real quick.
How did you know? Who sent you a video?
So they, I'm looking forward to probably. So I'm part of this a man group, which I love. I've enjoyed it, and I've been pretty good at doing all the homework, but I'm a slacker, and so I'll binge on the homework tomorrow and catch it all up. And
y'all are meeting on.
We meet on every other week on a Monday night, and so but we fast every Wednesday for 12 weeks.
Okay.
So and you don't have to. We can alternate it. Like Christmas will be on a Wednesday this year, so we can punt on that and do it on a different day. So, I'll probably shift it and do it on a Christmas Eve maybe, or the day before, that Monday, that week, whatever. And but it's once a week. And so I do 40 hours. I don't do a true 24. I do a true 40.
Fast?
Fast.
Are you fast in social media?
No, I would if I was a female, and so, but I'm not a female, so I'm gonna be biblical and fast from food.
I'm gonna fast from TV.
So Nick and I were talking about this. The comedian who does these funny videos, and one of the videos there is a making fun of a woman's podcast, and who talk about she is Daddy God has been blessing her and showing up big in her life. And she's been fasting, and she's kind of a bigger personality. The comedian is, and it's a dude dressed up like a female. And he says, but he's not fasting from food; he's fasting from social media. And so it's funny. You've got to listen to it. So maybe Nicholas can drop it off in the link. But So I'll fast starting tonight till I eat dinner on Thursday. So I'll be at Daddy Mike's house for Thanksgiving because we don't have no kitchen, bro, at the hotels, and so we're gonna do Thanksgiving with Daddy Mike again. We've done it the last several years, and so we'll do it again, and then it'll be fun. But I'm gonna eat nothing but meat probably that day. Anything that's meat, that's all that's getting devoured.
Yeah, that's what does he smoke it like he did?
Yeah,
the
he's
wings?
he's a deep fried turkey. He's doing a pulled pork as well. And then Miss Dolly's actually making a ham. So I'm gonna eat all those three. And if somebody brings a crock pot and it looks good of mac and cheese, I'll eat that. But if they bring in the kind from the oven with the hard, crusty noodles, I don't really care for that. I had an aunt who did that. Every Thanksgiving she would bring that. Man, I couldn't even have any of that. The noodles looked raggedy. You know something's wrong when you so poor you don't have anything, but you look at somebody else's food and you go, that thing looks raggedy. When you can't even eat that food, you know something. I remember eating it and be like, you're like, they didn't even cook the noodles, bro. And so, but I had somebody's mac and cheese that was in a crock pot. And it was amazing. Like it was absolutely.
I've had
so amazing. My wife makes a really good one, but it takes a lot of work, man. I think at least takes a lot of money.
Oh yeah,
and so,
macaroni and cheese isn't not when you do the traditional kind of baked macaroni and cheese. It's expensive.
It's probably a $35.
But I do take offense maybe or issue.
Go for it
with people who do mess up like normal dishes. Like we have a family member that does quote unquote adult macaroni and cheese, and so they put like all kinds of different
stuff inside the macaroni.
Yeah, like peppers and stuff like that. And I'm just like, what are you?
Number one,
doing?
They got to be white.
They are white
because white people mess up the food all the time. They'll put celery in potato salad.
Yeah,
they'll mess it up.
Don't they put raisins in?
And you're like, oh gosh, you know who made that as a white person.
Instead of using normal seasoning, they do stupid stuff.
So
even my cousin made something, and she's like, I tried something new last year, and I was like, you do not do something new at the family Thanksgiving or Christmas get together.
That's French. When somebody says, I try something new, that's French. This is gonna be trash. That's what it is.
Yes, it is.
You might as well have the Domino's pizza app open on your phone.
It looked like our dog ate corned beef hash, and then
dang,
it
squirted it on out.
Yeah, it went to the restroom after that.
I'll tell you, I did get a turkey. So we do our Thanksgiving service for displaced families tonight. It's something years ago. I guess it was right after COVID. I said, if we could do it, I would think it'd be great to do it. And then our campus pastor, he was like, yes, we'll do it. And so I've led it with Molly's help. And now Molly's like, she pretty much puts it on and I just get credit for it. And so we get everything from Wife Saver. They do fried turkeys and they do all that stuff. I'll make my famous green beans.
Oh, yeah.
So
I see that's the reason I need to get you with Brian.
Uh-huh.
He makes some phenomenal green beans.
Does he?
Y'all need to discuss your green bean recipes.
There's probably some you can't really. Well, I guess you can mess it up, but green beans done properly, they're fantastic, dude.
Yeah.
So we'll make that, and so I'm hoping that we have some dressing left over because I got a turkey that I'm gonna cook tomorrow once my guys get out of my house, my Evans home. When they get done the construction stuff, I'm going to come back to my house. It's going to be a war zone. But they did leave the fridge and they did leave the oven.
Okay.
And so I'm going to turn the power back on, crank the oven up, and I'm going to cook me my turkey breast. It has a bone-in turkey breast and all that.
Yeah.
But, man, I know I got it down to a science, dude. I cook in the oven for several hours, and then I go put it on the grill.
Nice.
And I have all my seasonings. I have all my stuff on it, dude. It is absolutely outstanding.
You hear that, white people? Seasoned.
Yeah, mine looks like it needs a bath, bro. It has so much seasoning on it, man. It is caked up. And then I'll cut it up, and then we're gonna make a Thanksgiving type of package and take it back to the hotel.
Nice.
Everybody who works there.
Oh, wow.
So we'll do that, and then we'll leave and then go to.
I work there.
Dude, I'll bring some by. If you.
Oh, you should bring.
Carell, you can come in with a bow tie, bro.
Yeah, he could dress up in a bow tie.
You can just
bring
be
it
the
in,
delivery
serve
guy.
it.
You can just be the DoorDash.
Oh yeah,
Grub
Hub.
The future hub.
The future hub.
Yeah,
I'm the Grub Hub.
Grub with the hub.
Oh man, the hub with the grub. The hub.
The
grub.
hub with the grub.
hub grub.
Because you know how they have those tables. There's like 2 little tables with 2 spots to eat. You can just come in, bring them food, and say that you're her
hub
grub. And then you sit there and you make her. You just go to the microwave right there, microwave the food, and then sit down.
It's like an MRE. Bring out 2 MREs.
That would be so funny. That made a funny video.
You got some water.
Can we get some from the?
You got some water so we can mix it with this
guests.
MRE.
This is for the guests.
Yeah,
that's cool. Hey, so I know you and I were talking about. We wanted to mention a lot of this is just catch up, but since it's Thanksgiving, just talk about gratitude.
Yeah,
and how men.
I do have one correction before we get to that.
Corrected it
because we mentioned Nathan. And we still want to be praying for him. Miracle, he's alive. Boom. I don't even know last time we talked where he was at, but it was dire.
He was basically the Patriots.
Yeah,
and then the illness, parasite, whatever they found to be the major issue was the
because at the time we weren't even sure because you were saying it could be bacteria.
Yeah.
So anyway, they said 2 or 3 times. Yeah, it happened to be against the Falcons. That Super Bowl. But 2 or 3 times, they definitely weren't sure. The doctor said had no hope. This was later said after that episode. And anyway, he is alive. He's still got some things like we need to be praying that his kidneys, start functioning again. He's going to have some amputations. His body's still needing to regulate some different things, but just saw a video before this episode of him walking, engaging with the doctors and nurses. So far better than what he was, but he's got a long road of recovery. I do need to apologize, Nathan, because Nathan listens. I don't know when he'll be able to catch up because of all that's going on with him. But I said that Nathan was I thought he was 52.
I thought so too.
And a mutual friend of ours, Chicken, who listens, he texted me and said, "You're going to have to retract that statement that Nathan is only 49." I don't know why I thought I heard he was 52.
Bro, I thought he was 52.
Well, because I was saying he's he doesn't look 52. Well, that's because he's not 52. He's 49.
That's right. That makes sense.
Because Chicken was saying he's 51. And Brian's 53.
That's why we probably got confused because I thought he was a little bit younger than Brian.
Yeah, I thought he was trailing Brian by a couple of years. So anyway, Nathan, I'm so sorry that I said that you were 52. You're 49 and you look 45. But we are grateful.
Yep.
So grateful. Talking about gratitude.
Yep.
We are so grateful that you are alive and you are maintaining your joy.
Yep.
And you are a miracle and you are an example to every one of us. We are still praying for you. For those that want to support, his family, because it's going to be a long road.
Yep.
I'll put this show notes as well. We're collecting money to send to his family. And you can go to hopeaugusta.com/give. And there's a Visible Jesus fund that people can give to, and all of that's going directly to the Cravat family. And so you can go to also hopeaugusta.com/visible/Jesus, and it kind of tells the story. And there's a giving link there. Would love for our Male Cartel, kind of crew to jump in on that. But anyway, just want to give an update. and also apologize to Nathan as we talk about gratitude. Because as I think of being grateful, man, what a vivid example of being grateful.
Yep.
So sorry to cut you off, but
no, dude, you need to, bro. And you know what? And Nathan, he's such an awesome guy. He will forgive you.
Oh, absolutely.
Of all your wrongdoings,
Absolutely.
of aging him, bro. Yeah. So we were just talking about, being Thanksgiving and having gratitude and what it looks like. And I ran across just different things I saw. Actually, one was an article, and so it really stemmed from a couple weeks back. I was speaking on a Sunday morning about gratitude. Our church, it's very cliche to talk about gratitude near Thanksgiving, right?
Attitude of gratitude.
And so I just started doing a deep dive, started looking at different things, and now I have a bunch of stuff on my phone that I use to speaking at different youth events and stuff like that. And one of the things is always gratitude. And I believe that's one of the 11 things that a person should own is the gratitude. And so I did research on some gratitude and very surface level things I could do in the schools, which I did. And then started wondering, like, how does it affect men? Like, in what ways? And so I began to talk to different men and people that I'm around a lot, just ask them questions like, hey, man, what are you grateful for? Do you find it hard to be grateful? And especially if somebody does something for you. So I think if somebody does something for you, do you feel like you have to, like, one up on once? You know what I mean? Instead of just accepting it, do you feel like instead of just being, oh, thank you so much, and sitting with it, do you feel like you have to, like, do something about it?
Yeah.
Can you just accept something and move on? You see oftentimes. So some of the things that I thought that I see culturally and have over the years, I talked to men about it, about how getting a new toy. Even in your marriage, like, oh man, my wife is not treating me right. And some people just want to throw in the towel, and just started looking at different ways and just how it affects men. I just thought, man, I feel like men struggle. I think science and research backs it all up too. There's tons of articles. There's actually one on Harvard that kind of talks somewhat about gratitude. And so, it says in this one article from Harvard, which you guys know, that's Spanish for smart people, says, he says, in positive psychology research, gratitude is strongly and consistently associated with greater happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude helps people feel more positive emotions, relish good experiences, improve their health, deal with adversity, and build strong relationships. People who feel and express gratitude in multiple ways, they can apply it to their past, retrieving positive memories and be thankful for elements of childhood, blessings. The present, not taking good fortune for granted, and then the future, maintaining a hopeful and optimistic attitude. Regardless of the inherent or current level of someone's gratitude, it is quality that the individuals can successfully cultivate further. And so, but they begin to talk about different studies and all that. And it's interesting why gratitude is important. And so I think it's interesting. But we live in a culture today that you don't really see a lot of people being just cool, being satisfied, being, sitting on what they have, or they can say they appreciate something, but appreciate something long enough to go get something new or something more shiny. And then that doesn't, and we kind of know what all that means too, but we live in and even to the point, or content is a good word, even to the point that without being evil or anything like that, you see shows that people have a house, a TV show, construction type of side of a TV show. They have a house. It's fine. It works. It's great. It's big enough for their family. But guess what? They want somebody to come in and remodel it to make it newer. And they're going to drop $200,000 on a remodel, to get one extra bedroom, all the bells and whistles, and they still have no kids. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and I think subtly what happens is, even in that realm, it causes other people to watch the show and go, man, I really need to do some things, maybe you're content. And so I think that can feed us some different type of information. But you see that all the time across the board. But when it comes to men, particularly, what is your thoughts when it comes to like gratitude and men and you know, is that a big issue that you see like in your world? What do you think?
Yeah, and I want to piggyback before I answer that on one of the things you were just saying with the study or the article from Harvard. You know, one of the things they say is that gratitude improves your mental health and overall well-being in life. And I had wrote this down, just put it in my notes just so I could read it, which is really connected to that because you said there's various different studies. I don't know if this is one they mentioned, but I thought this was very interesting. This is already kind of like a point someone could take away.
Yeah.
But it says in a study, one group wrote about things they were grateful for that had occurred during the week. A second group wrote about daily irritations or things that had displeased them. And the third wrote about events that had affected them with no emphasis on them being positive or negative. After 10 weeks, those who had wrote about gratitude were more optimistic and felt better about their lives. Surprisingly, they also exercised more and had fewer visits to physicians than those who focused on sources of aggravation. And really, there was probably no result for the people who just kind of wrote, neither here nor there, just kind of a daily diary. And so when you're talking about with men, it being important, I think it actually absolutely is from the standpoint of it gives you a totally different perspective on life. And so with men, we're the leaders of our homes. We kind of set the tone. If you come home and you're angry, if you come home and you're frustrated and you start taking that out on your family, that's going to have a ripple effect all throughout the home.
Yeah.
That's wives too. That's moms, women. We're no different in that, but it's the man's responsibility to kind of be the leader. And so if I am expressing gratitude and looking at what I'm grateful for, that's going to give me a totally different perspective shift, and I'm going to start looking at the positive rather than coming home being frustrated and looking at the negative of everything. So that's automatically going to change the environment within my home because I'm looking at the positive. Okay, some men might expect when they get home, there's dinner waiting on the table for them. Well, I can come home and complain because I think that's one of the things, gratitude fights against negativity and complaining. And I can talk more about that later, but if I can come home and complain and be negative for what I want, my perspective, or I can come home and in the immediate, if I go, well, why isn't dinner ready? Or why isn't this done? I can immediately shift my perspective to something to be grateful for. Like, you know what? I'm very grateful that my wife took care of the kids today, or, made sure that if they're homeschooled, like your, kids are, that, man, she's worked hard at making sure the kids have their education or they're doing their studies or whatever. Or, man, I see this huge pile of clothes that have been washed and dried. And, so like there's things to be grateful for. But if I come home and only look at the perspective of what isn't the way that I think it will be, then once again, that's just only going to cause a ripple effect throughout the whole family. Now the kids are miserable and your wife's miserable. And so I think men having that, it's cliche, but attitude of gratitude, gratitude's a choice.
That's right.
It is a choice. It's a habit, but it's also a choice that you make. If I want to be physically fit, I'm going to make a choice in my food. I'm going to make a choice to go to the gym. But the more I make that choice, the more it becomes a part of my routine and what I naturally do. And so it absolutely starts with being a choice. And so men have to choose to be grateful.
Yep.
Because you choose to be negative and to complain and see the negativity and everything. So you have to choose to see the positive and be grateful. And I think one of the other benefits for men is it does bring contentment. And, where you're talking about like buying the toys and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, if I am grateful for what God has given me, I'm going to be content in that. So I don't have to go out and get in debt. Both of us went and paid cash.
That's right.
For trucks. They're not the nicest. They're not the newest, don't have the newest technology, but I am content.
That's right.
Like 100%. I love my truck.
Yep.
It's 2010. I love it. You know, there's some things I want to fix on it. There's some things I want to update, but I'm super content. I've driven by some newer trucks, and you can go, oh man, that looks nice. I'd like one of the new Tundras, you know. But I look at it, and immediately that perspective change, or a shift in perspective. I look at it, I see how much they cost, and I go, man, I am grateful that I do not have whatever that payment would be. Yep. I'm grateful that this is paid off, which means I can do more with my family.
That's exactly right.
So I think it's huge for guys to be the leaders in their home in gratitude and having that attitude, that perspective, making that choice. What's
Yeah, dude. I agree 100% what you're saying.
I know you do.
That is my line 100%. So moving on, thanks for joining in today. I speak at places, and I was, one of the things that we should own, number 4, is gratitude. And out of 11 that I had written up about 9 months ago. And
by the way, speaking of Brian Edwards, he's calling me right now.
Look at Brian.
Look at that.
Making that phone call.
I should put him on the air.
Put him on air. Say gratitude, increases your mentality, your health, like Nick said, your relationships, because you appreciate the moment, and so as a dad, I think about that, soaking up time with your kids. My kids are young, so like with young, like my kids are so much fun. At the same time, they can be very like aggravating, because my middle child is very much like me. He'll get locked in on something, and you can't shake it. It's like a heat seeker missile, man. You can't shake him from that. And so he is determined. And when he gets bought into this Lego, which I didn't grow up with Legos, they'll do Legos and want to tell me everything about this Lego. I get kind of overloaded, and he picks the wrong time to talk to me. I'm like, bro, I really can't give you the attention, and I'll let him know that. I can't give you the attention that you need right now, bro. You got to catch me a different time. I just walked in the door. I've got to go poop or something, And then he's just funny, and so, but even in that, I try to like circle back around and go, hey man, show me those Legos.
Yeah.
And not forget, because I didn't grow up with Legos. And it's funny because if it was G.I. Joes, immediately I'd be like, bro, let me see who you got. Oh, bro, like look at the machine gun. That's just, anything He-Man. Like I hadn't seen that dude in a long time. Stuff that I grew up with. Or it could be riding a bike, or it could be a gun, or it could be bow and arrow. It could be stuff that I enjoy.
Well, we both grew up poor. You had Yegos.
Yegos. That's right. We had the bootleg version. So like, yeah. Anywho, but circle back around. I obviously appreciate the moment and the perspective. But there's the Bible verse, and I love this. Psalm 116, verse 12. And it says, how can I repay the Lord all the good he has done for me? And I think it just really starts there.
Yeah.
Us thinking like, man, God has been so good. And sometimes I think men, we can fall in a trap of not, wanting certain blessings and certain things, like we mentioned, the toys or whatever, not being content. But you could want things so much that you'll actually forget about, you want so many things. What I'm trying to say, I'm trying to make a something cool, sound cool. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make, what is the word? What is the verbiage I'm trying to come up with? You guys stay with me. Hold up. You can, man, what is it? You can want the blessing so much, but forget about the blessing that you do have.
Yeah. Yeah. You can
say
short-sighted, maybe.
Yeah. You can have them narrow eyes. You can have
be a one-eyed cyclops.
Be a cyclops.
You'd be looking at what you want with the one eye.
Yeah.
And you don't have another eye to see. We're so profound. We're going to write a book.
Dude, we can write a bunch of books. But yeah, you can want something
one-eyed
so
Willie.
much that you forget about what you forget. How does it go? How does it go? Doggone it. Man, this thing.
Look, I just had a team meeting with my chaplain, and one of our chaplains just had surgery on his eye, and he had an eye patch on.
He had
yeah, so he can only see one thing at a time. He's like Patch the Pirate.
Dude, I'm gonna try to look this thing on my phone and see if I have it.
People listening already figured it out.
They figured it out. They're all laughing.
They're telling us.
They're yelling it right now at their TV. What is it? How does it go? You can focus on what you don't have and forget about what you do have.
I mean, that's
it. You can focus so much on what you don't have that you forget about what you do have.
That says it all.
Yeah. And that means that you got them slow eyes, bro. You got them one eye cyclops. Yeah. But men, I think that's a big thing. So research backs it up too. And I wish we were better at it. And so, but we can be better though.
We can. That's why we're having this conversation.
That's right. What you got? You got your phones out.
The first thing I Googled, it says if you focus on what you don't have, you're done.
Did it really?
That's what it said. It's a YouTube video. If you focus on what you don't have, you're done.
Well, you know
I think what you said was more profound than that.
It is, man. What I said could be, that's like a point. If I was on a sermon, that would be one of my points.
That's what we should just
And people
do.
would just have that underneath me and take my picture and put it on social media on a reel, and it would just see my one saying.
This is what we just do. The top 5 of what others say that you said. When you focus on what you lack, you lose what you have.
If you forget about what you lack, you turn whack.
When you focus on what you have, you get what you lack.
Oh, and then hold up. Here's another thing.
Tony Robbins says, focus on what you have, not what you're missing.
What you're missing. So basically, my stuff sounds better than theirs.
That's what I'm saying. I liked it.
So here's the lesson. I sent this meme to you and just talk about, hey guys, we got to tighten this thing up when it comes to gratitude. We got to want it, Nick. We got to be grateful. So in 2 days, when this thing's released, it's already been Thanksgiving, right?
I don't know. It depends on when
producer because it's the holidays. So it could be a day. It could be 2 days. It could be 3 or 4. It could be a whole 5 days. Or it could be one. It could be Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. Who knows? But when you listen to this, you have a choice to make.
Yep. A daily choice.
A daily choice. You wake up and your 2 feet hit the ground. You look yourself in the mirror. You know who you are.
If you have 2 feet.
If you have 1 foot, put that other peg leg down. Okay.
When you sit your butt in your wheelchair.
Yes. Sit your booty in the wheelchair. If you have a booty in a wheelchair, peg leg, or 2 feet, you stand up and you look yourself in the mirror. 1 eye or 2 eye. You look yourself
unless you were blind, and then maybe you just imagine what you would look like.
Then just imagine it. But you have to make a choice.
You're beautiful,
be grateful.
by the way. You don't need a mirror to know that.
That's
if you're blind, you're beautiful.
You are beautiful. Unless you're ugly. And then if you're ugly,
if you're ugly,
you're not beautiful.
But you can imagine
that you're beautiful.
In your mind that you're beautiful.
That you're beautiful. But check this out. Inspiration, Nick. Do crackheads ever say, I'm too broke to smoke crack tonight? No. They get up and they make it happen.
That's right.
Lesson. There's a lesson in there.
There is.
I sent that to you, and that was inspirational.
That's inspirational.
Yeah.
What does that got to do with gratitude?
Listen, we can be gratitude. We can have gratitude. It's a choice. It's a habit.
Oh, yeah.
So wake up every day.
Make it. That's what it was. I was still thinking about the blind man.
Yeah, and make it. Make it a daily
habit.
Happen. So what I try to do, just to let you know, I'll turn it back over to Nicholas. When I get up and I pray, I always thank God for what's in front of me. And sometimes I'm like very in tune, and sometimes I am not. Sometimes I'm just tired. Sometimes I'm not focused. It's hard to believe that I'm that way sometimes, but I am. But I do try to stop and recognize. And when I pray, even over a meal, you've heard me say this, pray. So is Karel, and anybody that's listening, if you ate with me, okay, then you understand. I always pray, and I always tell God, we recognize the food that we have. Mm-hmm. You've given it to us, and for that, we're very grateful.
Yeah.
But I started these habits and started thinking and pausing and thinking about. And so it's a discipline now, but it used to just be a habit. Be something I just started, and I was like, hey, I got to do this, and I'm going to do this and do this. And even before I pray and do anything, I always think or kind of replay the tape. Kids don't know about tapes, but like in my head, it's a tape. Game film. I just run that tape about how God has been so good.
Yeah.
And then I tell God how he's good, and I'm content in him. And then I'm going to talk about some things I need to talk to about with the Lord. But I'm always going to recognize that he has. And but I used to not do that, bro. I used to be sorry. But yeah. So any wise words from you?
Well,
any applications? before we go? Because we got to go.
The last thing I'll say, and there's a scripture with it, and one, of course, it was a year ago actually that Gavin was in his accident.
Yep.
So just by seeing my son walk in the door, being fully healed, brings you to gratitude because there's God didn't have to spare his life. There's been young people who have had a lot less severe accidents who have died in the last year. And so it's a blessing from God. And I think gratitude helps us to see the grace of God because we deserve nothing.
Yep.
And yet he has blessed us. A moment ago, I said gratitude kills essentially negativity and complaining. A lot of times people will be like, well, I don't have any friends or whatever, but they don't recognize their own negativity and how much they complain and how that pushes people away. But James 3:10-12 says, blessing and cursing come out of the same mouth. My brothers and sisters, these things should not be this way. Does a spring pour out sweet and bitter water from the same opening? Can a fig tree produce olives? My brothers and sisters, or a grapevine produce figs? Neither can a saltwater spring yield fresh water. And I love that because we can't both be complaining and negative and grateful at the same time. We have to choose which one. And he says it shouldn't be that way, that blessings and cursings come from the same mouth. So I think, we need to be very mindful of that, not just on Thanksgiving week, not just on Thanksgiving, but every day of our life. What's coming out of our mouth? What are we thinking on? Is it negative? Is it complaining? Is it victimhood? Is it what I don't have? Or do we choose to be grateful and to have gratitude? Because I think a lot of those things are the result of not being grateful. Because if we're grateful, we're not going to have those other issues. So we'd love to hear from y'all. Are there some things we miss? Some things that we, you would want to add? I'd love for y'all to share that.
100%. I agree with you. Well, we're grateful for you. We love you. And if you like the content we share today, just share with people. And do leave us a comment if it fits you. And love to know what you're thinking. So.
Absolutely. Get 1% better every day.
Every day. We'll holler at you.
See ya.
Thank you for joining the Male Cartel podcast. Be sure to subscribe and share to help other men join the cartel. You can also keep up with us on social media and at malecartel.com.